Only the highest vibrations of love and light can be in the space, and all objects in this space for the highest good for this reading today. All other energies must leave now. I call in the highest level of the divine that knows that power is the truth from which we read, the highest level guides and angels to help us with this reading. Archangel Michael will hold this space for us, and so it is. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth, as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God. Okay, the records are now open. Just give me a moment to check in here. Okay. All right. I suspected as well. Pretty much my wandering souls, most of them originate from Lyra. So that's where your soul first went into consciousness. And now you have been to a lot of other places. So we're going to go through as many as we can, all the locations you've been to. But and with Lyra, I'm getting actually, you were in etheric form for quite some time. You didn't really incarnate into physical form until a little later in the Lyran, history. But, and then, of course, there was a reason why, you didn't stay in Lyra. But, I'm getting at first that you're a very high-level galactic energy, and you were one of the beings that first split off from Source. You went, you went to a few different galaxies before you decided to, I think, reside in the Lyran system, and even then, I think you were in etheric form for quite some time. And I'm actually getting, okay, this is interesting. I'm actually getting Lyran Feline Etheric energy. Okay, so I don't know if you have a connection with kitty cats or cats, but...
Cats.
What's that?
Cats.
Cats, yeah, yeah. But you have this Lyran Feline energy about you. So, but I'm not seeing that you've had a physical incarnation as Lyran Feline, but just as kind of an etheric level. So you were actually one of the original co-creators that were creating life on Lyra. So that's how you started off. And but I do see a trauma. I see this trauma that came in. When you created all these different beings with your feline etheric brothers and sisters, you all were very proud of your handiwork. It was beautiful. It meant it was, you've created these, paradise planets that were perfect and gorgeous and beautiful. And, but then, of course, there was the Lyran Draconian Wars. The Dracos attacked Lyra. And even though you were still in etheric form, just seeing the planets that you worked so hard on destroyed broke your heart. I mean, it was just more, you didn't get killed off like some of the physical Lyran beings. It wasn't like that because you were still in etheric. You were like, 7th or 8th dimensional. I mean, you're, pretty high up there in the dimensional levels, but it broke your heart so much that you left the Lyran system and you swore never to go back because it was just heartbreaking to see all your handiwork destroyed the way it was. So I'm seeing that you did travel to some other star systems. Just some of the ones that were kind of close by Lyra at first. Most likely, I think you were in Cygnus. Cygnus is the Swan constellation. Again, you were still in etheric form. There was Cygnus. There was Hercules. There was a constellation. I mean, there was various incarnation or various star systems that you traveled to. But you chose not to incarnate into physical form for quite some time. You still carry that disappointment with the creation of Lyra. It was kind of a very deep disappointment with your soul. It was something that I think just. It was, I think, the first like real disappointment you had as a soul, and so it's I think affected you throughout some of your other timelines and lifetimes. I do get parallel soul with you. You have the ability to I think coexist in multiple dimensions at one time. So I see that. You are simultaneously living out other lives and other timelines and other dimensions. This is something that you've been doing since the beginning of time. Some souls choose to incarnate into one star system. That's not you. You are wanting to experience as much as possible, especially after that, after your co-creation days. So you are out there simultaneously, experiencing all these different lives, and so I'm getting that when you're dreaming, sometimes you'll be dreaming about yourself, but you'll be in a different body, or you're, living out it feels like you're living out somebody else's life in that dream. And there's people that you don't know in this lifetime, but in that lifetime, you know them quite well. And it just seems like it's very familiar, but you can't quite pinpoint why that seems familiar to you, but it's because when you're in dream time, you're in fourth and fifth dimensional space. So your soul has the ability to revisit, some of these other timelines that you're coexisting in. So I think that's why, in Graham's chart, he said you were a wanderer, because you are kind of more of a parallel soul. You're just spread out, on all these different timelines. That's something that you chose to do. It's, I think sometimes it's exhausting for you in this current incarnation, because when you're dreaming, you're not really resting. You're just visiting other timelines. And so when you wake up, sometimes you're very tired. You're just like, wow, I don't feel like I got really good rest at all. It's just, and my soul is actually more similar to yours than you realize. I do the same thing. I have these experiences where I'm dreaming that I'm in a different body and I'm experiencing a different life, and I could be a man in that life, or or in a different time period, or or something to that effect. But it just means that we're just very versatile souls. We're just very very spread out. It also indicates a higher level soul contract, that you're not just on Starseed level, you're actually on, higher galactic entity level. So even though your soul has this Lyran Feline, energy about it, you do carry a lot of energies from other star systems. So you probably relate to everybody's story, when maybe you're talking to, some of your other Starseed friends, and they're talking about this and that. You can relate to that story because you probably had a lifetime in that, or some sort of higher dimensional, life experience. I'm also getting that you have done, walk-in experiences before. So particularly here on Earth, I'm not getting a lot of Earth incarnations for you, just more walk-in experiences. Do you know what that is? It's when you have a contract with another soul to walk in, to kind of assist or to, I guess, experience, you know, that life for, you know, a temporary period of time, and then you walk out. So
share the body. I'm sharing
the body. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's not your own body. It's somebody else's body, but you have a contract with that other soul to share their body, you know, for the time being. So, and that's a gift that you have. It's, you know, you have the ability to do that without really feeling like you have to attach yourself to what's going on. So you have this ability of detachment about you, which is actually not a bad quality to have. It's actually very good because you don't attach yourself to dramas and situations around you so much. You're more of an observer, and you're observing things from a very, I would say, almost, I wouldn't say clinical, but very objective viewpoint. It's just you're there just to see what's going on. I am getting that you're reporting back to a group, okay? So, and I'm getting it's a higher galactic group. It's not Galactic Federation, but beyond Galactic Federation. It's like the Brotherhood of All, or something along that level. Okay, so when the chart showed that you came from, what was it, Galactic Center, that is entirely correct. You did come from Galactic Center because that's the headquarters. That's where you receive the assignments. Okay. I'm going to check in on that a little more. I am getting that you did have an experience as an angelic, and it was not necessarily a good experience. It was in the beginning of time when they had the group of angels that fell, you know, from grace. You were one of those angels that fell from grace. So you were actually one of the watchers. Okay, so so the reason why you are experiencing life right now the way you are is kind of a karmic repercussion of what happened from that particular fall from grace. But I'm seeing that that's going to get resolved here in this lifetime. I do see a handful of physical incarnations for you, but not many. I mean, not even off-world. You've always been in kind of like higher galactic form. You know, you've always been like an angelic or a higher dimensional being, you know, but not specifically, you know, a heavy physical incarnation for you. I'm getting also in this timeline, in this life, with you and me talking, that you struggle to stay in your physical body. Yeah, you struggle with that so much. I can't even begin to tell you how much you struggle with that. It's
trying to be 3D when what was that? Started out in what, 8D or something?
Yeah, you were like actually you started off 12D, and then you went down to 8th and 7th. So you're struggling. I mean, I feel the struggle because I can see it in the records. It's like it's just taken everything you can to stay in 3D. You're having a really tough time with it. And I'm right there with you. I struggle with it too. I'm just like, okay, you know, when can I go home now? You know, this is getting crazy. Now you do have a home. Your home is with Source ultimately, but you know, origination point, I say, was Lyra. So, you know, you do want to, I do get kind of a Lyran Feline, but not physical, though. It's more like Lyran Feline Etheric energy. But, so I just want to kind of, you know, reemphasize that point. But, and I get that you connect more with the bigger cats than you do with small kitties, okay? So you love the lions and the tigers, and you admire them because some of those beings were actually your handiwork. You didn't work on the smaller feline DNA. You worked on the larger ones. So when you see a lion or a tiger, it brings like a sense of joy to your heart because that was the result of your handiwork. Of course, they probably looked a little different on Lyra. They had, you know, different, maybe slight differences, but when you see them here on Earth, it kind of brings you that spark of, you know, joy within your heart that you're, even though Lyra was destroyed, that some of the DNA that you worked on during that time period still is existing even after all this time. So it just brings, like, you know, kind of a happiness and a joy to your soul because, you know, your work wasn't totally destroyed. You know, it was, you're seeing it even in some of the Lyran, you know, humans, you know, because you also did some work on the humanoid beings as well. So in a lot of ways, you're very much, I would say, more elevated in spirit than the majority of my Starseed clients. You know, they, you know, especially the ones that are maybe assigned to 1 or 2 star systems or had, you know, incarnations and physical incarnations. You know, you've surpassed all of them. I'm getting with the Watchers. That was a tough lesson for you. That was, along with, you know, seeing Lyra get destroyed, that was very tough on your soul. And I'm getting that the reason why you did all the walk-in work for a while after that was because it was like your karmic retribution, so that you had to try to get your soul back on track by assisting other souls. But you didn't want to, of course, take on, you know, the whole big contract of going through the entire lifetime. So you would walk in, do what you needed to do, walk out, you know, to fix that soul or to fix their path. And I'm seeing that these were souls that somehow through genetics, they were impacted by the fall. So these are souls that somehow had, because of what the angelics did, they had this karmic repercussions, you know, throughout time, and you were trying to make things right. So you were going in there, you know, helping them with their timeline. It was like you were adjusting their timelines to make it to where it should be, instead of what happened when it was during, you know, the time of the fall of grace with the angelics.
The first step, the first preparation, some creator, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The decision to say, I'm going to go my own way.
What's that?
The decision to say, okay, I'm going to go my own way.
Yes. Yeah. You didn't choose to stay in darkness with the other angelics.
Good.
Yeah. So you were like, okay, I made a mistake. You know, what can I do to fix this? And so you took it upon yourself. So, and that's the kind of soul you are. You're so compassionate, you know, that I think sometimes you just feel deeply, you know, like even if you've, you know, made a mistake or you've done something wrong, you know, you just feel so deeply like, wow, you know, I've really impacted that person's life. You know, I need to go and make this right. And that's also a very Scorpio quality too. I mean, yeah, you know, Scorpios, you know, they're just like, you know, they can admit when they make mistakes, and they're like, okay, I need to make this right, because Scorpio is also the eagle. So Yeah, the bald ego. Yep. So that's also one of your animal totems, along with the large feline is the eagle. So also when you see eagles, I think it brings joy to your heart because it's actually a representative of your soul out there. So so it's a beautiful, just a beautiful reminder of that. I do see that as a etheric being, you flew a lot. You were able to astral travel. I think to this day, you're still able to astral travel. You do it quite a lot, actually. So you don't realize it, but you astral and you shift within dimensions quite a lot. I mean, you don't stay in 3D. You have a hard time staying in 3D. So I think sometimes you feel that you feel better just getting into 4th or 5th, preferably 5th and above. But yeah, you do shift through dimensions quite a lot. You do it seamlessly. You don't even realize you're doing it. So so let's say if you were sitting in a room and you notice like the colors shifting and certain parts of the room are becoming brighter, or things seemed heightened as far as the energies, it's you shifting into another dimension. So that's what's going on with you. So you're doing that quite a lot. Why you chose physical incarnation, I'm going to check in on that because I think part of that was that that fall from grace and just having to make things right. But you were doing a lot of that through the walk-in, so I'm going to check why you chose physical incarnation, because that that is a huge step down for you. Okay, it was very that was taking on a lot for you. Okay, so okay, I am seeing an Atlantean connection. Okay. Your first physical incarnation was in Atlantis. And of course you were a higher human, in that life. And I'm getting that you experienced the fall of Atlantis, and that part of the contract, and I think Edgar Cayce talks about this in one of his books, but quite a few of the ancient Atlanteans have chosen to reincarnate again in North America to kind of set things right with Atlantis. So so you've had this kind of like this timeline of doing great, good, and also doing or being involved with things that weren't such great, things, like this, this fall. So I'm also seeing an Egyptian incarnation as well, because a lot of our Atlantean, souls reincarnated in Egypt, or actually escaped to Egypt. So in your case, I'm seeing a reincarnation into Egypt. And I'm seeing a connection with Sekhmet in that timeline. So that's the lion goddess. So she's the one with the beautiful lion head and the human body. But and I'm seeing that you were one of the priestesses in that cult, and you were working in that timeline. In that timeline, you were working for the cult of Sekhmet. And it was, I'm also seeing another incarnation in Egypt where, again, it was, totally different. You were you were nobility, but you were connected to Pharaoh's family, but you were not in Pharaoh's family. You're like one of the noble families that was connected to Pharaoh's family. And that was a totally hedonistic type of life period. Okay, so we're in Egypt right now. Yeah, that was a totally hedonistic lifetime where you were just experiencing material, just a material existence, experiencing, great wealth. And it was, it was good, I mean, but you didn't really learn like any, I think, really important life lessons, except, just how it feels like to be wealthy and to have everything at your disposal. But you already had everything at your disposal as a higher level dimensional being. So it was kind of like, I think you chose to experience that just to have that experience, but I'm seeing that as a soul, you were a little disappointed because it was like, it was very materially oriented and you've already had everything being this higher dimensional being. So it was kind of like, okay, that was all right, but I think you found more meaning in the previous Egyptian, incarnation where, at least you were doing some good, for, Sekhmet was also a protector of women. So, you were working, with women's concerns, helping them through childbirth and, and some of their, issues and things like that. So, that life at least had a little more meaning for you. But the life where you just lived in a lap of luxury in Egypt, that was okay, but not any great life lessons there. But maybe in a broader sense, there was a life lesson, but good check in. So we have Atlantis, Egypt. Like I said, you didn't have many physical incarnations, so I'm not seeing too much. I'm seeing like a map of the world, not too much lighting up. So. Okay, I do get a Celtic connection as well. So, yep. So yeah, you went from Egypt to the Celtic lands. I'm seeing very druidic. Yeah, yep. Yeah, you had a life as a druid, and that would make sense considering your origins. Okay. Checking in on that lifetime. Okay, that was pre-Roman times. So the Rome hadn't quite infiltrated Great Britain yet. So it was a life full of magic and wonder for you. That's what they're showing me. You've had connection with quite a few elemental beings. You were working with the fairies. And actually, if I could go back a little bit in your, galactic timeline, I do see that you did go through the Antares Stargate, and you were in Andromeda for a while. That was one of the places where your soul visited as, this wandering soul and just, gaining information for the higher galactic, the Hunab Ku, or whatever you want to call it. They were the higher galactic brotherhood, but Andromeda is the origination point for all the elementals and the fairies. So that's why you chose that incarnation in Great Britain, or during the Celtic times, because you were wanting so much to reconnect with those energies, because you felt very much at home with those beings. So I do see that you loved, that was probably your favorite life out of all the lives. Yeah, that was your favorite one, at least as far as a physical incarnation, was because it was just, Britain was, had their small little tribes. They weren't, affected by Rome yet. And, it was totally pagan, totally, just, nature, they were very much in tune with, nature and with, the nature, religions, and, they were happy, I mean, they were, the Romans considered them uncivilized, but they were actually, I think, very happy with where they were at, in their evolution during that time. So that was your favorite life. I do see you did quite a bit of magic, And I think even in this lifetime, you feel this deep connection with magic and with, you know, spells and things like that. Even though I wouldn't say you're Wiccan. I don't know if you work with Wicca or not, but I do see that you have this fascination with spells and with, I think, ancient divination skills. It's more like a fascination for it. Doesn't mean that you actually want to do those things, but it's just you have this interest in it. So, because that was kind of a lot of type of stuff you did back in the Druid times. You know, you were doing, I'm seeing, you know, a lot of ceremonial. I'm seeing you working a lot with trees. So you were very connected to trees. Still connected to trees, actually. So, trees, flowers, and these elementals. So those are your folks. Yep, yep. I know what your guides are telling me is that you love the trees in your area. They bring you great solace. So you know where you're living at. You have a lot of beautiful trees in your part of the country, and especially when the leaves are changing, it's very beautiful. Yeah. So so you just feel very connected to the trees. And I'm gonna check in on this galactic assignment that you have, which, you know, seems like it's been ongoing for a long time. I do see that after this timeline here, you're going to go back to higher dimensional self. This has been very difficult for you. And do
I go back to 12D?
Well, you're not going to go back to 12D immediately, but you're going to go to 7th dimension, 6th, 7th. Okay. Yeah, so
retrain on my way.
Yeah, get reacquainted, because if you go from like 3rd D to 12D, you'd probably just blow up, okay? You know, you know, so you can't do that. So you have to kind of go through the ascension process again, but yeah, this is your last incarnation on this planet. Your assignment here is finished. You're also, I'm seeing from your birth date, you're a first wave. So you came in to help with this ascension process as part of Dolores Cannon's, you know, first wave Starseed. You're even beyond Starseed, so I'm not even going to call you a Starseed. But, and usually first wavers are those who kind of pioneer and you know, we're like the pioneers. We're blowing open the doors and bringing in the new energies. But we're not the builders, and we're not the blueprinters. We're just bringing in the energies. And most first wavers, this is their last incarnation, because a lot of them are individuals that are higher dimensional. And a lot of people say, oh, well, the crystal children and the indigos are higher dimensional. They're different dimensional, okay? They have different skill sets. But they're not necessarily higher dimensional. I think that's a misconception. The first wavers are actually the older, more experienced souls. They were the ones that had to blow through ignorance and, you know, and darkness. I mean, because and the majority started coming in right after World War II. So your first wavers are from 1947 through, I would say, the early 60s. I fall into a first wave category as well. So we're the ones that came in when nobody knew about any of this stuff, you know, I mean, or at least nobody that was here right now. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody knew about it. Nobody was aware of it. It was always about religion. You know, it was, you know, about these, you know, preconceived ideas of what God is. And then we come in and we're just blowing their doors open. We're just, you know, we're shifting and changing. So it takes, I would say, very high level, very experienced ancient souls to do that. You know, the souls that are being born right now that are your, I guess, crystal or rainbow or whatever, you know, terminology they want to use. Those are the ones that are more the builders and the technology experts. So, you know, those are the ones that are going to rebuild the new civilization. Those of us that are here already, this is it for us. We're moving on. You know, it's just, you know, we've done what we came here to do. We're moving on, you know. So, and again, I guess with your Earth incarnations, it was just different experience for you. You wanted to see what it felt like being in physical form, because you hadn't experienced that before, even when you were in, you know, visiting these other star systems as part of this galactic council that you were a part of. You know, you were visiting all these other places, but you were always in etheric form, you know, or in, you know, very, very high dimensional form, you know, where, you know, you were more of a light body than, so when you started doing your work here on Earth, you know, after, you know, Atlantis, you know, you wanted to see what it felt like being physical. And although, you know, it's been interesting experience for you, you don't enjoy it very much. You have a hard time with it. So I am seeing that, you know, you're going to be very happy to go back to 6th or 7th dimension after this. You'll just be, you know, like, oh, you know, finally, you know, I can feel like I can, you have a very big soul, and your soul's having a hard time staying contained in your little body. You have a very small body, and it's just having a hard time staying contained in that body. And so a lot of times you feel like you're about to bust out of your body almost. Yeah, it's just very, very difficult for you. And I do see that, you know, connecting with trees will help you a lot. You know, they're very grounding. And I think that's why you love the trees, because you feel like your soul can kind of rest and be okay with them. Same with connecting with certain animals. I don't know if you have any pets or anything like that, but no pets, okay. But just connecting with...
Your parents had a cat.
Your parents had a cat, gotcha, okay. I think mostly you connect with trees and elementals. So when you go out into nature, you connect a lot with the elemental beings that are, you know, in your area, because they're very similar to you in a lot of respect, you know. So and you've worked with them before in your druidic, you know, lifetimes. So so you probably see orbs a lot around you.
Those are the sparkly people, right?
Yeah, the sparkly people.
The sparkly people. That's
yeah, that's what you call them. Yeah, yeah, you see the sparkly people a lot.
Sparkly people. Yeah.
Yeah. And I am seeing, as far as guides, I'm just seeing very, very high, I mean, very high level. I'm not even seeing like physical forms with your guides. I'm seeing kind of that galactic center consciousness. So it's kind of more of a group consciousness. I'm seeing also some elemental beings that are your guides from Andromeda. So you have these Andromedan. I'm not seeing so much... I do see one Lyran Feline, but it's Lyran lion being, not small feline. So I'm seeing this Lyran, very, very, very high dimensional being that's no longer in physical form. So he doesn't even really look like much like a lion anymore. He's just kind of this etheric light body form. And I am seeing, yeah, just mainly the elementals. They've been guiding you for a long time. I think as a child, they said you loved the fairy stories. You loved the fairy tales, and especially the stories about fairies. You know, so you had a great love for those because it reminded you of, you know, past connections with these beings.
And something happened recently where I'm not there anymore. I don't know if I shifted personalities or that chapter is done. I feel very done with it, and I'm still going through the motions. I'm doing my fitness strong man, strong woman program. But I'm done competing. I don't feel like competing anymore in it. I'm just going to do, I feel like just doing whatever it is I need to do to stay strong.
Yeah, I think once we get, what I'm seeing with you right now is that you're shifting into kind of a higher expression of your physical form. So I'm actually seeing that your DNA is actually changing, and it's because of who you are as a soul. It's just, you know, was bound to happen sooner or later. It's just happening now. So even though you enjoy the physical, you know, workouts and things like that, it's kind of lost its purpose because you're shifting into crystalline form anyway. You know, that's what you're preparing yourself for. So, it's, it doesn't really have a whole lot of, you know, meaning for you, except that, you know, you do want to take care of your, you know, physical vehicle, obviously, and stay in shape, you know. But as far as the competition and stuff like that, I mean, that doesn't really have much meaning for you anymore, you know.
It has no meaning, and I sort of built a social life around it. But little by little, I'm like coming out of the soul closet and just letting people know other things about me besides that. And now I'm drawn to the astral projection work that Graham is teaching. Graham and another guy is teaching, and I feel like that might be the next modality of exercise to learn.
Right. No, I'm seeing you doing much higher level spiritual work. The physical stuff will kind of lose. It's already lost its enchantment for you. I mean, it did a long time ago, actually. But I do see you moving into higher level spiritual work. I'm seeing you doing a lot of astral traveling. That's going to be like your forte because you've done it so much anyway as a soul. I mean, you've been a walk-in and a parallel soul for a long time. So that's like kindergarten for you. You're going to pick it up so fast again. Your physical form right now is forgotten, but your soul remembers. So, you know, as you start, you know, getting into that curriculum, it'll just snap into place. I mean, you'll pick it up so easily that I also see you're very gifted at remote viewing. I don't know if you've done that before, but you have this ability. And again, like I've said, you're an observer, so you're constantly observing. So you're able to observe not only in the space that's currently around you, but also, you know, throughout time and space into other locations. So, you know, that's another skill you might want to think about, you know, developing, you know, just if that's an interest that you have. But I see the astral traveling is going to be, you're going to have quite a lot of out-of-body experiences, you know, just things that are not explainable, you know, by, you know, scientific terms, but is, you know, totally explainable. Okay.
Across timelines.
Yeah.
In a dream, I came back to myself before an audition, and I gave myself advice. Don't try and sound like a tenor, sound like yourself for the audition. And I know that was me. It was a thinner version of me.
Yeah.
The timeline that came back, I came back to myself from a different timeline. And I feel like I reached from another timeline and got rid of a Herkimer crystal that had a triangle in it, because evidently whatever it is about the Herkimer crystal, it needs to not be in my possession right now. It's disappeared without an explanation other than I reached over, I slipped in from another timeline and took it out. That's the only thing I can come up with, because I feel like I can be in different timelines at once, sort of.
Oh no, we've already talked about that. Yeah, you do that all the time. Yeah, I mean you do it without even realizing it. You know, I mean sometimes, but yeah.
And that's why people don't see me sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I get upset and say, "What am I in a parallel universe?" Well,
yeah, you are. You are in the parallel universe. Yep. You know, so yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. Yeah, and I do see that you've worked quite a lot with sound frequency in your higher dimensions. That's another one of your gifts, you know, so it doesn't surprise me that you're a singer, because you're just, do you do light language at all? Do you do any of that?
I have sat someplace and I've smiled and the molecules all danced around to me smiling. And I could have been delusional at the time, but I really believed that I had a symbiotic relationship with the energy around me, and it was swirling and dancing while I was spiritually dancing with it, though I was sitting in the chair.
Right, yeah.
It's not language, but it's
it was energy. You're I think connecting with the higher energy forms in that space. So yeah, it would make sense that, you know, now light language, that is coming to you. Okay, you're going to be starting to do light language. So
cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, there's a group called they're called Unity Light Activation Group. And we have people, is a smaller group, not quite as big as Cosmic Neighbors, but we have people in that group from all over the world. I mean, it's amazing. It's just true. It truly is a unity group.
Is light language a visual or auditory or a combination?
It's a combination. Some people like to speak light language, through, just speaking it out loud. Others like to write the language, so they'll do like symbols and things like that on a piece of paper and just write it out. So I've seen both forms, and in the group you'll see people doing both forms of it. So if I can, I like to add you to the group, because I think that would, really, I think, impact you greatly in a positive way. All the people that's in this group are very, very high vibrational people. I mean, extremely high vibrational. So, and that's why we have such a small group. But you'll see both forms of it. You'll see the written, all the symbols. I mean, there's people that, they create artwork out of the symbols, and it's beautiful. And others do spoken, or they sing it, they sing in light language, or I'm seeing you actually singing in light language. I'm just seeing you just taking off and just singing these beautiful, these beautiful songs, just totally with light language. But yeah, I'll add you to the group, because I think you'll really resonate with the folks there, and, with the energy that's in that group.
So, thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that for you. Any other questions that you have, or?
Another question, and I think that I might have gotten some of that answer when you first started the reading about my origins as a co-creator. I listened to the podcast when you had Graham on it, and Graham was explaining what happens with the galaxies, and that a galaxy can give birth to other galaxies. And during that time, when he said that, I actually felt myself like holding a galaxy, like a parent holds a child. I actually felt myself like the parent of a galaxy, the mother of a galaxy in that. And I didn't know where that came from just taking up his hint, or it's part of that.
It was a part of the co-creator experience that you had. So you first had to create from, Source just started off as Source. There was nothing. And then when aspects of Source split itself off and became the co-creators, they had to create galaxies before they created star systems and constellations and everything else. So yes, you had to start off. That's why I said you're very ancient. Your soul is like from the beginning of time. You're just like you started off with these nebulas and these galaxies and these planets, and then from planets and stars, and then from there you were creating animals and things like that. But it was like you were just breaking down, creating smaller and smaller. It was like you're going from a macro universe to a micro universe. And now you're going to be going in the opposite. You're kind of at the apex of your spiritual cycle right now. So now you're going to start going back up the cycle, back to macro universe. So you're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you've actually become, you know, part of that galaxy. You know, I'm seeing you actually returning to Galactic Center. That your next incarnation will be at the Galactic Center. And then from there, you know, you're going to move on even beyond that. So, to omnipresent source, you know, so, at that point, you're going to be probably even beyond 12th dimension, you know, so you're going to go back from where you came, and, you know, it was an interesting experience that you have here, and it's kind of sad that when we incarnate into third dimension, we forget so much. You know, it's just, you know, we don't remember because of the veil of forgetfulness here. So I am getting that you've actually remember a lot more than I think you've allowed yourself to believe. But you do already know a lot about yourself. You know, you're such a large galactic being, you would have to, you know, so, so yeah, no, it's, you know, this is it, you know, as far as the physical, you're pretty, after this lifetime, you're moving on. So, and I'm not seeing Starseed or star incarnation. I'm seeing beyond star. Okay. So, you know, you're going to be playing on a much bigger playing field at that point. So, so no, I'm excited for you. I'm, you know, you're at the point where you're going to graduate from this experience and just move on. And, you know, you're done. It was an interesting ride though, wasn't it? I mean, kind of in a way.
An interesting ride, but you know, we have to forget, but if I could tell anybody advice, it would be don't split off on your own.
Yeah.
Stay to the positive. You don't want to have to reinvent. You don't want to have to reinvent yourself to the positive again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a strange trip, but you know.
Yeah, that was the experience I think you learned from the, you know, the fall from grace with the angels. That was I think the time when you actually did split for a while, and then you had to. But see, unlike the other angels, you didn't stay in the dark. You know, you were like, okay, I made a mistake. And it was almost as if they decided to fall. I mean, it wasn't really like your desire to move in that direction with them. It was just that you were part of that group. You're part of that soul group. So you just, you know, kind of, you know, I guess just by association was involved with it. But you're like, you know, just because you guys are part of my soul group, I'm not going to accept, you know, your fate, you know, or your destiny. I'm going to create my own destiny. And that's the very independent aspect of your spirit, you know. Just because others around you are doing their thing, you're going to do your own thing. You're not going to follow the crowd or do, you know, what the other souls think is, you know, great or fun at the time. And actually, I'm seeing that as far as, you know, soul group assignment, even though they were your original soul family, you have split off from that soul family. You didn't want to share their fate, so, or, you know, go down the path of darkness. So even though you had to pay some restitution with all the walk-in experiences you had, you know, you were able to, you know, move past that and create your own destiny.
Did they try to call me back?
Yeah. Right.
They try and call me back with a dark hand. It's like, come on, drinking. Come on. It's like that kind of. No, well, this is very attractive, but I been there, done that. I don't want to do that, but I have felt like they're.
Oh, they're always trying to call you back. Yeah, because they're like, how dare you create your own, split off from us and create your own path? You know, you're one of us. You're supposed to be, you know. They're always going to try to tempt you, at least especially in this timeline. But You're very strong. I mean, you're strong. You're not only strong physically, you're very strong emotionally. So you see right through it. You're just like, no, that's not my thing. Sorry, bye. You know.
I can't hurt anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's no separation between me and another entity. I can't hurt. I can't.
Yeah, exactly. And the last thing you want to do is, you know, play their little satanic games with them. You know, it's satanic, it's crazy, I mean, and they chose that path. I mean, they're just like flip sides of ourselves, you know. I mean, they're, you know, I don't really, I think, fear reptilians or dark angels or demons or whatever you call them. To me, it's like they're just playing out, you know, their soul choice, just like we're playing out ours, you know, but
they need love too.
Yeah, they do need love. Yeah, we try to send them light. They keep rejecting it. Oh well, you know, but
it's lonely.
Yeah.
Like if the thought comes in, like, look at all the power you could possibly have on the dark side.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
the answer is it is so lonely on the dark side.
Yeah. It is. It isn't. I mean, because you're so separated from Source. It is sad and lonely. I mean, you're so separated that, I mean, to me, it just feels like, I don't know, like destitution, you know? It's like, you know, yeah. I mean, at least...
I don't want to lose my soul. I don't want to lose my soul. I'm glad I didn't. You know, I'm coming back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to be just fine. Any other questions you have?
I don't think I have any
questions or
outstanding questions. I'm in the family I'm in as part of my whatever the small things that I can do, healing things here, being a healer here, and hopefully I've made up for any cold-hearted things I might have said to anybody in anger. I've really tried to clean things up if I've said anything to anybody.
I'm not seeing any outstanding karmic debt. You've paid your karmic debt. Yeah. Yeah, you've paid your karmic debt. I mean, all those years of parallel lives and walk-in experiences, you've paid your debt over and over again. So yeah, you're actually, I think, I'm just seeing very, very clear karma around you. I'm not seeing anything that you need to work through. I don't see any attachments other than, you know, the silly little fallen angels trying to, you know, mess with you sometimes. But you're so strong.
Come back and play.
Yeah, they try to mess with you, but yeah, But you're like, no. You've been there, done that, like you said. You don't need that anymore. So, but other than that, I don't see like any reptilian attachment. I don't see anything wrong with you physically. I'm not seeing any grayness about you. I just see that you're very tired. You're tired of the physical incarnation. I do, you know, because the physical is very difficult for you. If we don't have anything else, any last concerns? Because I just want to make sure you get all your questions answered.
I don't even know what I don't know.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like it's time to close. So
I feel that it is. You know, I could always, you know, message a question that comes up, and appreciate. You know, I don't have any problem with a proper exchange of energy. I totally respect that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, yeah.
In terms of not wanting to incur any karmic debt.
Oh, no, yeah, no, you're fine.
Thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope you got something out of it. I did.
I feel like, okay, in terms of like where do I belong, I feel like if I'm a co-creator, so I'm you know.
Yeah, you're going to go back to that. You'll be probably creating another galaxy someplace. So that's going to be your ultimate destiny, is creating new galaxies and new parts of the universe.
That fun.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully you won't feel like you have to go through that whole dissension cycle. I don't see you doing that. I see you staying higher level, but yeah, you won't go through the whole ascension cycle like you did in this period. So it'll be a dawning of a new age for you. It'll be wonderful.
Just pass through 6 and 7 again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to do the closing prayer. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the lords of the Akashic Records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed, amen. The records are now closed, amen. The records are now closed, amen. And your energy goes with you. My energy stays with me. And I thank you for allowing me to facilitate your reading today. And I thank you, wish you love on your journey.